What manner of mysterious glyph is this that you see waving around on your internet screen? What can this mean? 3 strange secret signs hammered into leather, waving around, hovering in space in front of somebody's face. What is it? Who is it? Well, if it says TTT, and it's a Wednesday, and it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you hear this voice, then you must know that it's little old me, Malcolm Tent here, bringing you the latest episode of Tent Talks Tunes, baby. That's right, you've seen the secret hand sign, and now you can see it in handcrafted leather. Yes. Another confection created by my bandmate, Mr. Walt Wheat from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Who made this? I've worn it on stage, and now I'm wearing it on screen for all of you, my frantic fans, loyal listeners, and vivacious viewers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to be here. Good to have you. Somewhere around my ankles, I've got my traditional jug of Danbury Tap, which I will now heist to you. Thanks for tuning in and being here. As is also my habit, I'm going to reach on over here and give you guys a really wonderful close-up of my shiny forehead as I click on the monitor to make sure that I am indeed streaming and live. Looks like I am. Looks like I'm here and people are seeing me. Yes. Alan, hey, the aforementioned Walt Wheat is here, along with Mike from Vancouver and at least 12 or 13 others whose names have not been revealed to me. Welcome, everybody. Good to be here. Oh, man, so much going on. I hardly even know where to begin, so I might as well just begin at the beginning. As you guys know, if you've seen this show more than once or twice, I like to check the mailbox, I like to check the bulletin board, I like to bring everybody up to date, up to snuff, and tell you about all the good stuff that's happening right here, right now, all the way live from my little cabin in the woods in the greater Danbury area. Hello, Adam from Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, Adam, duty now, good spuddy. Adam is the guy who produced that tremendous yard sale in a box that I showed last week on Tent Talks Tunes. And if you guys missed it, luckily there are options, there are alternatives. If you go to my YouTube channel, you will find last week's episode live. Well, not live, but, you know, as live goes on YouTube. Last week's episode featuring the yard sale in a box and all the weird stuff I found in there and my pithy commentaries about all of that. And if for some reason you want to relive the glories of today's show, you can go onto YouTube after I'm done. I will be uploading it ASAP. If you guys are fans of the Antiseen YouTube channel, which I administer, you might notice that we're a little bit behind on the episodes. That's for 2 reasons. One, that I was out of town with the almighty Antiseen on tour in the Gulf states and did not have a chance to upload the 2 episodes that aired while I was gone. And I tried to upload last night's episode because, as you may know, Jeff Clayton goes on his show, Break On Through, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. And for some reason, YouTube would not allow me to access the Antiseen YouTube channel. I have no idea why. It simply would not give me the option to log on to it. So I'm assuming there's a glitch in YouTube's system somewhere, and I hope to get on top of that and get the Antiseen page updated ASAP. Speaking of updates, I see an update is flashed on my screen, which in one way has nothing to do with Tent Talks Tunes. In another way has everything to do with Tent Talks Tunes. It's a message from my man Dietrich over at Complete Mastering. Newsflash, the Profanatica LP, which I showed you the cover of last week, should be delivered on Friday or Monday. Yay! That means that the 2000 album covers and pieces of vinyl that have been in my kitchen and other rooms will soon be matched together. So I will have complete product. I will have fully formed Profanatica LPs. And then we're just waiting for the covers for the G.G. Allen Carnival of Excess repress to show up so I can have product on that. So there you go. While I'm here yakking to you live on Tent Talks Tunes, I just got word that the Profanautica LP is imminent. Well nigh imminent. So, Dietrich, I doubt that you're watching, because if you were watching, you would know that I really don't like to take messages and all that while I'm trying to be on Tent Talks Tunes, while I'm trying to glad handle Harry the cat, who's got to get his customary chin scratch while we're here live. Look at that guy. Look at that reaction. Oh, boy. I mean, really, who doesn't like getting their chin scratched? You know what I mean? Have you guys ever noticed when I show you these delightful close-up shots of Harry's face? Harry's got a red beard. Can you guys see that? He actually has a red beard, like right there, kind of matches mine. He's got his own little red soul patch. It's very sublime. You can't really see it unless you look at him real up close and personal, or if you get a good look at him in the bright sunlight. But old Harry, his name could be Harry Redbeard, because he does have a red beard to match those bright yellow eyes of his. Everybody say hi to Harry if you haven't. Hello. Now, while I was yakking about all that, James Pogo wants to know if I listened to that New Wave comp from the Atlanta radio station that Adam sent me in the yard sale in a box, the 96 Rock radio station compilation. I did not. I have not had the time to do that. But it is absolutely in the queue. I listen to everything that crosses my desk. It takes quite a while sometimes, because I got a lot of stuff to listen to, and I don't always have the time to listen to it. But to me, a piece of unlistened to music is a piece of unfinished business, and I hate unfinished business. This toast that I drink is to finishing business. Can you guys hear that purr? Is that being picked up on the microphone of my camera? Can you hear him purring away? What would you guys think if I told you I was working on a release on my label, TPOS, an actual bona fide cassette and or CD of Harry the cat, this guy right here, the guy who's bogarting my lap, Harry the cat purring for 60 minutes on cassette and 80 minutes on CD. What do you guys think of that? A Harry the cat CD cassette release. I've been editing it, and it's pretty cool. He's got all kinds of voices. He's got all kinds of different purrs. Sometimes I catch him when he's snoring, and I'm going to edit the whole thing together into a seamless program to put on cassette and CD. So if you guys need to hear the sound of Harry, kind of like you hear him now, it will be coming out on TPOS sometime in the future. So now we've got one more thing to look forward to in the future, where all of our destinies lie. I will definitely drink a toast to Harry the cat, my beloved little cat man, the 1.5-eared wonder, the guy with the sesquifang, Harry the cat. All right, well, Harry is settling in comfortably, and he's not interfering with my movement, so we'll just kind of leave him here for the duration. You can see his back, you can see his rump. He's right here joining us for Tent Talks Tunes. So, yeah, let's take a look at the bulletin board. We got some stuff going on. Another disclaimer, I'm not going to be here next week. Might be here the week after that, not sure, but next week I definitely will not be on air, because I'm going to be doing Antiseen rock and roll duty in the month of April. We got April 6th in Atlanta, Georgia, at Boggs Social and Supply. April 7th at the world-famous Milestone in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's going to be a wild hometown show. Last time we played at the Milestone, it was a corker. So April 7th at the Milestone. April 8th at the Cherry Street Tavern in Chattanooga, Tennessee. That was almost a tongue twister, but I untwisted my tongue and said it correctly. all my wild-ass North Georgia friends and crazy Tennesseans. Hope to see you guys in Chattanooga on April 8th. And then on April 9th, the Cobra in Nashville, Tennessee. I got a lot of relatives in Nashville. Hope some of them come out. So 4 days, 4 nights of rock and roll and touring action. I will be posting tour updates on my Facebook page as I go through this crazy wild world with Antiseen and see things and hear things. I like to post them and share them with you guys on my tour diary. So no Tent Talks tunes next week, but tour diary action. You better believe it. A month after that, what do you want? You want the Danbury Record and CD Expo, Danbury's finest and only record show, and also Connecticut's longest running record show, co-promoted by me and my pals at Noise in the Attic. May 6th, VFW Hall 149 in downtown Danbury. Come visit me in action. I will have 2 tables full of records, tapes, and CDs for sale for you. That includes stuff on the TPOS label. That includes a wide variety of new and used vinyl and CDs and stuff by other artists. And there's a whole planet full of other artists. Everybody from Lead Belly to Led Zeppelin. Everybody from Zephyr to Zappa. Everybody from ABBA to A Flock of Seagulls. Everybody from Devo to Mick DeVille. Dude, I love to buy and sell records. So yes, you can see Genuine Used Record Mogul in action May 6th in Danbury. And of course, I got to draw your attention to TPOS on Discogs, eBay, and Bandcamp. It's been a very busy few days in the mail order department. I am the king of packing and shipping. People have been ordering all kinds of wild stuff. For example, did you know that I still have copies left, not many, but still, of the G.G. Allin I'm Not Drinking cassette, numbered edition of 100. As you can see, this one's numbered 45. Signed in real ink with real pens by Disappointments members, T. Ricky Insult and Bob Pringle. Still got a few. Sold a couple yesterday. Still got a few. Check this out and many, many, many other wonders that are available on my Discogs and eBay stores. And my Bandcamp's got a lot of great music by artists you might not have ever heard of, but they're damn good. And I recommend them all. If they weren't good, I wouldn't have put them out. I stand by every release that's ever come out on TPOS, with one exception, which I'm not going to get into. You can't get that one anymore anyway, so... Let's check the mailbox. We've gotten a lot of stuff going on in the mailbox here. First, a package that arrived while I was on the road with Antiseen last month. I usually get everything shipped to my P.O. box, which I will be flashing right here, right now. My classic mailing list P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut, 06470. That's P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut, 06470. Goodbye, Harry. Yes. I get stuff delivered there, but I did get a package from my good pal Tim Holhouse. Tim is the globe-trotting, world-traveling troubadour who I've shared the stage with many, many times in the States and overseas. And Tim has stayed at my house every time he's come over here, so he mailed a few things to my street address. Excuse me. Which, it's fine. The problem was I was out of town. So I don't know when this package arrived, but it was sometime during the 12-day period that I was gone. And during that 12-day period, that package was left out on the porch, and we had at least one snowstorm while I was gone, and some rain while I was gone, and it was sitting outside for 2 solid weeks almost. So imagine my surprise when I got home and saw this very sad-looking, bedraggled, weather-beaten package. And imagine my double surprise when the contents were actually intact and in very good shape. Can you imagine that? In spite of being left out in the rain and snow, in the rain, snow, they left the package out in the cold rain and snow. The CD, Tim Holhouse and his friends made it intact. The last February tour featuring Tim and Scott Murray and Lee Resistant and Sourface. Got a little bit wobbly, a little bit water-soaked, but by cracky, the disc is in perfect condition, and I get to listen to it when I'm on my next trip down to North Carolina. Also, the Weird Harvest compilation that he sent me. Now, this is something that Tim has told me quite a bit. It's this place, the Weird Garden in England, which I think defies description, and you just got to look it up. But it's on my list to play this place. And they've got a compilation CD relating to it. And Tim is on it, and I'm very excited about that. Because the Weird Garden, as far as I've been able to tell, lives up to its name. And I love playing places like that. And Tim and I, we shared a lot of road time together, especially when we'd go around England and he's the driver. He's introduced me to a lot of great English cuisine, such as Greg's vegan sausage rolls, and a truck stop favorite, the Naked Bar. I've only ever seen these in England, and at one, and this is the weirdest thing in the world, one single truck stop in Tennessee. I don't know why that is. I've been to probably 14 million truck stops across the US of A, and I've only seen Naked Bars in the USA at one truck stop in Tennessee. Not in any grocery store, not in any convenience store, nowhere except one truck stop in Tennessee. But they're all over the place in England. Raw vegan snack bars. My God, these things are good. So Tim sent me a box of these, and as you can see, the box got a little bit bedraggled. I, of course, tore it right open. When you know it, 12 days in the elements, and they came through just fine, and they're yummy delicious. As are this other English treat, which I've never seen in the States, the Trek Protein Flapjack Bars. Ooh. These are lemony delicious, and you can't get them in the States, and Tim sent me some. Thank you, Tim, so very much. These are a snack treat. And just because I haven't eaten them all yet doesn't mean I haven't been trying. I can assure you of that. Let's see, what else have we gotten in the mail? Well, I'll show you this one thing from my pal Stan Bowman in Springfield, Missouri. Stan has got his distribution. What is the name of his distro? I think we're going to find out right now as I reach on over here and grab the world-famous Million Mile scissors and do a little slice and dice on this envelope. My pal Neil in Buffalo says to try eBay or Amazon for Naked Bars. You know, Neil, I could do that. I definitely could do that. It's kind of like another great regional cuisine that I found, and I posted a picture of this. Again, a gift from Walt Wheat, boiled peanuts. Man, I pictured that photo of boiled peanuts, and this generated a lot of controversy, a lot of pro and a lot of con. I love boiled peanuts. Boiled peanuts are really dang good. I've got to admit, now Walt and I have had a long-running debate about this. My preference is for the deep-fried peanuts. Deep-fried peanuts. And I mentioned before, the Tennessee truck stop, I only have ever really found deep-fried peanuts in extreme eastern Tennessee and at one spot somewhere in Georgia. It's got to be a Tennessee thing, whereas boiled peanuts are like a more ubiquitously southern thing. And so whenever I'm in the South, I look forward to getting me some boiled peanuts. And hopefully on April 8th and or 9th, when we're in Tennessee, some deep-fried peanuts. And that, of course, addresses the issue that Neil was saying. I could try eBay or Amazon to get Naked Bars, and I'm sure boiled peanuts. Definitely a good idea, definitely practical, but I got to admit, I kind of like the thrill of the hunt. I like the idea of actually having to go out into the field and find Naked Bars and find boiled and deep fried peanuts. It kind of makes me feel like I'm where I am. You know, like I know I'm in Tennessee if I see a bag of deep fried peanuts in front of me. I know I'm at the Sainsbury in, why am I drawing a blank? Bromley, England. I'm in Bromley at the Sainsbury's if I can find naked bars. It's definitely a good way to be anchored. And in the moment, a toast of Danbury Tap to being anchored and in the moment. See already the controversy. Amy Lynn Myers is cooking up some boiled peanuts in the crock pot right now. Ooh, it sounds so good. I would love to have some fresh boiled peanuts. And Jennifer Crawford says that she loves boiled, but she never had them in a can. I'll have to let you guys know how that turns out. I'm an optimist. I think it's probably going to be pretty good, so we shall see. Anyway, Stan, what did Stan Bowman from Springfield, Missouri send me from his distro? Ah, look at that. See, I like this a lot. Good old-fashioned distro and mail propaganda, you know? A printed, that's it, reality impaired distro. Look at that, a real print catalog of all the cool stuff he's got in his distro. A reality impaired flyer, you know, cut and paste, black and white Xerox style. I love this. And lots and lots and lots of mini flyers and, haha, as he said, this is it's not a piece of paper, it's a ghetto sticker. Just add glue for reality impaired and all kinds of propaganda and stuff. Stan, thank you very much. I will have fun going through all this and seeing what's out there in the still very much alive world of mail order trade, mail order, and distro and zines and all that good stuff. Whoops. I like it. Stan also turned on a fellow in Mexico who's got a fanzine called Last Night Alive, and this guy did a special G.G. Allen issue, which has some really cool stuff in there, including a very long article, an interview with Goose Sissum, who is the head of Blood Orange Records. Blood Orange is in charge of the early G.G. Allen catalog, and learned a lot of really cool things from that article. So this is really neat. Also comes an honest-to-gosh handwritten letter. Oscar Sanchez from Obregon, Sonora, Mexico, is the publisher of Last Night Alive. So thank you, Oscar, for the Last Night Alive. I really appreciate that. Love learning new stuff. And a real, honest-to-God print zine, baby. Print! Also, Oscar and or Stan, if you're seeing this, I did send in the questionnaire. I did mail in the questionnaire. Don't know if you ever got it, but I did send it. On a piece of paper, in an envelope with a stamp. Now we got one more item from the mailbox. This is something I actually did mail order. I did it because of TPOS artist Gary Forney. You guys have heard me talk about Gary Forney on Tent Talks Tunes. Gary Forney has a release on TPOS by his band Pumpkin. And Gary was a prominent featured player in a documentary film about the song poem industry called Off the Charts. That's how I first heard of Gary. And I, through the wonders of social media, got in touch with Gary a few years ago. And we've been in touch ever since. I actually released some music of his, which is a jewel in my crown. I've got another release on deck by Gary Forney of all of his song poem stuff, which I'm very excited about because it's an entire other different facet of his creativity. And he's got a documentary coming out simply called Gary, which is currently making the rounds of the film festivals. I'm in it. Thank you very much. I do make an appearance in it. And I'm pretty excited to see the finished product of that. And because of all that, I've been in the middle of a bad attack of Forney mania. Forney mania. And because of that, I mail ordered 2 books by Gary Forney. Yes, he's a published author as well. They arrived here. The box is sealed. Let's open her up and take a look. Zip, zap, zow. And here they are, kids. 2 books. Caravan by Gary Forney, the autobiography of Gary. This, you know, is going to be a read. Cannot wait to feast my eyes on this. And then, the Gary Forney story, a biography of Gary by Tony Downs, which I'm also very excited to read about. It's a screenplay. Don't think this is the same as the movie that's coming out. I'm not 100%. Oh, Caravan screenplay. Ah, okay, right. This reminds me, this is the movie that Gary wrote with the screenplay by Tony Downs. Yes, raw, unfettered, unfiltered creativity in not one but two published books. I think I'm going to take these with me on our next trip, so I could have some reading material. Hey, what do you know? Bonnie is tuned in. Ms. Bonnie Forney is here. Everybody say hi to Bonnie, wife of Gary. Hello, Bonnie. I hope, Bonnie, that your ego and or Gary's ego have not swelled up to the size of my ego, which is too big to be contained by one camera. But then again, if it has, good for you. Y'all have deserved it. The Forneys have worked very hard for their art and deserve any and all success that they get. I just said it right there on the public record. Let everybody know it. Cheers, Forneys. So there you go. That was the mailbox and the bulletin board. Let's talk about some tour swag that I picked up. I wanted to do some show and tell on this last week, but man, the yard sale in a box that Adam Zister sent me just completely overwhelmed me. So I got some things here that I picked up on the road, and I love this stuff. You know, I'm a collector, I'm a hoarder, I'm a fanboy. You know what one of the coolest things in the world is, if you're a rock aficionado such as myself? When you go to see a live band, getting the set list. I love set lists, and I got a ton of set lists. I pick up set lists at every show I go. This one's from the Pallbearers, who we shared the stage with in New Orleans, Louisiana, a few weeks ago. Handwritten, 2 different ones, each handwritten on cardboard. How authentic is that? Another handwritten set list. This is from Blood Drunk of Shreveport, Louisiana. Here's a printed one from our good pals Jethro Skull. Even if for some reason you don't like the music of Jethro Skull, the name Jethro Skull, dude, 10 out of 10 for the name alone. Let's see, it's another one of the, it's another Pallbearers. And of course, the main event, Antiseen. This was our basic list for the last run of 4 shows we did. Yep, I collect my own set lists. Who is this from? Don't know who this is. From March 9th. Who did we play with on the 9th? That was Shreveport. Who was this? Was the 9th Shreveport or was it Mobile? I don't know. Who did we play with on March 9th? Anybody out there know? What band was this? My inquiring mind needs to be reminded. And here's another one. Volume Mountain from Hattiesburg on March 9th. Ah, okay. Never mind. If this was Volume Mountain from Hattiesburg. Oh, how about the name of the band right there on the front? Vile Menace. Yes, this was Vile Menace from Hattiesburg. The only time in my entire career, either solo or with a band, that I've played with 2 bands who had the same initials in their names. Volume Mountain and Vile Menace. And it happened in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, home of Walt and Heather Wheat. I don't know what it means, but it's got to mean something. Yes, Jennifer Crawford, who was in Mobile, has just corrected me that Mobile was March 11th. True, honest-to-God fact, when it comes to dates, I'm pretty much useless. If I don't have something written in front of me, I'm not going to remember it. I am simply going to conflate the days and confuse the dates and scramble the locations. I got to have it written down, otherwise I'm just completely dolor en el loco coco when it comes to dates and places and stuff like that. So yes, March 11th in Mobile. And guess what? I'm going to talk about something I got in Mobile right now. Not only did I get to hang out with the Crawfords, all of them, at the show in Mobile, but we shared the stage, as we have before, with our good friends Future Hate. Dennis Highland is the guitar player of Future Hate. He is also the head of Antiseen's Japanese label, Jackhammer Music. And they have a U.S. branch based in Mobile, Alabama. So Dennis is the lead guitar player and the promoter and the guy who runs the label. He also has Miranda Pixley in the band. Miranda is the lead singer of Future Hate. And besides being a total fireball on stage, she also makes printed 3D sculpture, which I didn't know, until she gifted Antiseen with a box of her creations. And you should have seen it. We were at the Wheat compound in Hattiesburg when Jeff Clayton broke out the box and said, "Hey guys, take a look at this." And we all sort of gathered around like a bunch of children on Christmas Day as the box was opened. And it was all oohs and ahs. And, ooh, I want that, and I want this, and I want that. We were not exactly fighting each other, but we were certainly jostling for position for the contents of this box. Jeff got himself a very cool 3D printed Godzilla figure. I got a couple of things myself. Look at this series of super creepy 3D colorful baby heads. Ooh. Yes, Miranda made these, and they've all got strange textures on the tops of their heads. I don't know what it means, but I like it. 3 creepy baby heads. Stay. How about a 2-part detachable human skull in black? Very nice. Very nice. And she also made this incredible teacup and saucer set with human teeth as a central part of the design on the rim of the cup and the edge of the saucer. I gifted those to a special somebody. But really, really cool. Real art. Miranda, thank you so much from me. And if anybody else was remiss in thanking you, I thank you for all of us, because that was a real bodacious, bona fide treat. And these will all go very happily and very proudly on my mantle in the next room. You better believe it. While also in Mobile, hanging out at the Walt Wheat and Heather Wheat home, I spent a lot of time playing Atari. Yes, they had a genuine Atari 2600 game console in the room where I was staying. And I felt like I was back in 1982 all over again. I played Combat, I played Pitfall, I played the extremely low-rent 8-bit version of Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man. What else did they have? The Journey game, which was really, somebody warned me that the Journey, Journey, the rock band who I hate and maybe you hate too, Journey. They had a video game in 1982 on Atari, and it really is truly a stupid, shite game. Even if it wasn't Journey, it would still be a stupid, shite game that takes forever to play. And every time that you get a new scream, you got to listen to this god-awful version of Don't Stop Believin'. That plays for like 2 minutes. You can't do anything until this fucking thing plays all the way through. I got through 1.5 games of it before I just ripped it out in frustration. And I didn't throw it across the room because I'm a better guest than that. But I'll tell you, I wanted to. I really did. I stopped believing a long time ago. And Alan, my pal Alan, says that Journey is the worst band to ever exist. I don't know if I would necessarily argue with that. The worst band ever to exist. I mean, that, for me, that opinion changes frequently. Well, let's get a little poll here. What do you guys say? A little impromptu, off-the-cuff poll here on Tent Talks Tunes. Right now. Would you guys like to post and tell me what you think is the worst band to ever exist? I know it's a very strong statement to make and it's very subjective, but I'm just curious. I'm just curious to see what you, the educated viewers of Tent Talk Tunes, think is the worst band ever. Got some opinions coming in already. I see Pearl Jam. I see the Eagles. Yeah. You know what's really weird about the Eagles? I totally grew up hating the Eagles. I grew up despising the Eagles. I'm kind of starting to appreciate the Eagles a little bit. I really don't like to admit that, but yeah. For me, the breakthrough was the Flying Burrito Brothers. Like, everybody in the world agrees the Flying Burrito Brothers are cool and made great music. But there's only 1 degree of difference between the Flying Burrito Brothers and the Eagles. And they're doing basically the same kind of music. So why is it okay to like the Flying Burrito Brothers but not okay to like the Eagles? That sort of gave me a brain seizure. And so I started listening to the Eagles with a little bit less hatred in my heart. And yeah, I got to admit, they're not bad. They're actually pretty good. I think it's mainly their attitude. They were so completely, utterly ambitious, you know, and they really so defined what L.A. rock star was and is. You know, the whole cocaine and Novocaine jet set crowd. And I still don't like that attitude at all. I hate that brand of rock star dumb, which the Eagles really, really embodies so well. But music ain't bad. Music's not bad at all. There, I said it. Mea culpa. Who else? Oh boy, Def Leppard, Dave Matthews. I'm with you on that. Smashing Pumpkins, definitely with you on that. I don't like them one bit. Well, Amy Lynn Meyer said Kiss or Iron Maiden. We're gonna gloss over that one. Jennifer Crawford says Starcrawler. I don't even know who Starcrawler is. Creed. See, every time I see the word Creed, I think it's greed. Enough said. Oh, we got a whole bunch of votes here. This is going to be fun to go through later on. Wonder if we can get any kind of a quorum here. I'm seeing lots of single votes for lots of different bands. I'm not seeing any votes for two or more votes for one single band. I'm told, don't look up Starcrawler. It's bad. I will take your word for it. So we've definitely ascertained that the Journey video game is every single bit as lousy as the band and their alleged music. Definitely can agree on that. But while digging through the box of Atari 2600 cartridges, I found some really weird things that were not Atari 2600 cartridges. They were actually a pre-recorded movie format that I never knew existed. This was really weird because you guys know, if you've seen more than one episode of Tent Talks Tunes, that I take delight in weird music formats. You know, I love 8-tracks. I love reel-to-reels. I love wire recorders. 4-track cartridges. I mean, the more arcane, the better. Dictaphone tapes. Love it. And the same thing goes for video. I love video. Beta versus VHS. VHS-C. Compact. You know, it's like all sorts of different video tape formats, many of which never caught on. And, you know, anybody out there who owned a video camera in the 90s was probably familiar with the High 8 video format. Got one right here, as a matter of fact. I can get it out the box, that is. High 8 video. I'm sure you guys have all seen High 8 videos. You know, they're these small, these miniature little VHSs. And for a while, they were kind of like the standard for videotaping. You could actually fit 2 hours worth of stuff on one of these things, and the sound and picture quality were actually really good. It was a really good analog tape format. And I've never done a whole lot with videotaping as much as audio taping. I'm a real fiend for audio taping. But I've had a couple of High 8 cameras in my day and shot some video on them. So I'm familiar with the format. The format itself is not rare or unusual, but stand on my skull and call me shorty, I had never in my life ever seen factory-made high 8 movies that you would go into a store and buy. I didn't know there was ever such a thing. I mean, look at that. Taxi Driver, Beverly Hills Cop, Neil Diamond starring in The Jazz Singer, Breaker Morant. I never knew there was such a thing. Prefab, factory-made movies to watch on high 8 video. And there were 4 of these in the box. Oddly enough, I said, Walt, WTF? He said, oh, take them. I don't want them. Which is the true mark of an arcane format. When the average Joe, when confronted about the arcane format in their possession, says, oh, what, that? Take it, I don't want it. That's how you know. That's how you know it's an arcane format. And that's how you know it's going to end up on a shelf in my apartment. You know, I can't help it. I just love this kind of stuff. So, pleasant surprise in Hattiesburg, and thank you, Walt, for letting me take the unwanted junk out of your box and putting it on a shelf in my home. This is going to go on the 8-track shelf because I honestly don't know where else I would put them. It's just one of those things, you know. Just one of those things. Weird formats. Honest to God, just when I think I'd seen it all, I was able to have my mind blown. Very, very cool. And I should mention my pal Joey Crawford from the band Blanket of M gifted me with a couple of CDs packaged very kindly in a Ziploc biohazard bag. That's an example of packaging if I ever saw one. We have the actual official Blanket of M CD, which I will be listening to. And a concept album. This really, I was very intrigued by this. A band called Opossum, Where Art Thou? An album called Hokum. It's a concept album about a town called Hokum. It's dirty trailer park country western music. I don't know how the exact storyline goes, but he did give me the spoiler. The spoiler is that the town of Hokum at the end gets blown up in a meth lab explosion. Sold. Sold! So thank you, Joey, for these. Yes, I will be listening to them sooner or later. Sooner or later. Probably on this next drive to North Carolina when I've got 13 and a half hours of road time and a CD player. That's when it's going to happen. So yes, that is good. A big toast of Danbury Tap to people who have met me, gifted me, and turned me on to all kinds of cool music and nutty stuff. Yay! My gosh, we've covered all kinds of territory today. Maybe we've talked about Atari 2600. We've talked about the worst bands who ever existed. 3D printing, boiled versus fried peanuts, English snack foods, truck stops, all kinds of stuff. Harry's made a special appearance. Can you hear that back there? If you hear the sound of rustling, that is Harry actively destroying something in the living room. I don't know what it is. Probably a sheet of bubble wrap or something like that. I don't know. Do you guys think I should make a CD of the sounds of Harry destroying stuff? I'll do it if there's enough demand. What do you guys think? Sounds like he's stopped. No, he's still at it. He's batting something around over there. I'm sure you guys can hear that. Oh boy. What are you doing, guy? He's in crazy cat mode right now. And if you guys have ever owned a cat, know exactly what I'm talking about. Come out of here, son. Stop being such a wackadoodle. What are you doing, boy? Come here. Stop being so nutty. Harry's going to make a second appearance now on Tent Talks Tunes. Come here. If I can get him to sit still long enough, I'm not sure. Anyway, we're debating you, Harry. Should we make a CD of your sounds of tearing things apart to go with your CD of you purring? What do you think? What do you think? The people have given me no feedback on it, so I'm going to assume that nobody wants to hear the sounds of you tearing stuff apart. They just want to hear you purring. We got some positive response on that. And there he goes. Stephen Costello thinks that I should... Stephen Costello thinks that I should sick Harry on the Minuteman Press. No comment. Anyway, we've talked about everything except the one topic I wanted to address, which was an historical what if. What if? You know, if you're like me, you're a music freak, you're a music geek, you're a music weirdo, you're a music archivist, archaeologist, obsessive, somebody who just loves to think about the way that things could have gone historically with bands and musicians and creativity and stuff like that. If you're like me, you might appreciate this little thread here. What if? What if? Well, let's do a little bit of background first. Hermosa Beach, circa 1979. There were two bands sharing a rehearsal space. One of them was called Worm. The other was a band I'm sure that we've all heard of, and they were called Black Flag. Now, these two bands being in very close proximity, they got to be friendly with each other. And the end result was that the bass player of Worm, pictured here on the back of their posthumous album, the dude right there in the middle leaning against the wall, a guy named Chuck Dukowski. Chuck Dukowski ended up joining Black Flag and became a key, crucial member of Black Flag. Besides being the bass player and a main songwriter, he's been described as Black Flag's philosophical center. He was the thinker of Black Flag. He was the tactician. He was the dude who had a grand general idea of what Black Flag should be all about and how to achieve it. He was the guy. It's like if Greg Ginn was the heart of Black Flag, Chuck Dukowski was the mind and arguably the soul of Black Flag. Actually, probably Greg Ginn and Chuck Dukowski shared the soul, but Greg was definitely the heart, and I would say that Dukowski was the mind. And so, potent partnership between Greg Ginn and Chuck Dukowski. They crafted what could be said, what could be argued as being the classic era of Black Flag. And Greg Ginn typically gets all the credit, but anybody who was there at the time, and this has been said over and over and over again in various interviews and reminiscences and whatnot, that Black Flag would not have been what Black Flag was without Chuck Dukowski. Period. And I believe it, because you look at what Black Flag was when he was in the band, as opposed to what it was after he was aced out of the band. Still both great, but really different animals. They were just definitely different animals. And, you know, it's got to be due to the presence or lack thereof of Chuck Dukowski. Now, when you take a look at the arc of Chuck Dukowski's creativity as a writer and a player, there really is a direct line from point A to point B to point C. You know, he was a full-time member and writer and performer with Worm and went directly into Black Flag. It's not like he was in this one band and stopped writing and stopped creating and then started all over again with another band. He just simply kept doing what he was doing. And the same was true after the very messy and unpleasant and acrimonious situation in which he was, shall we say, asked to leave Black Flag. And there have been volumes written about that. But basically, he was thrown out of Black Flag because he couldn't play bass the way that Greg Ginn wanted him to play bass. But he never stopped writing. He never stopped playing. It's like whatever he was writing during his very last days with Black Flag, and I can't say this for an honest-to-God fact, but if the dude was always a writer and always a player, it stands to reason that stuff that he was writing during his very last days of Black Flag would have been saved and carried over into whatever project he was working on next. And if you guys are SST history buffs like I am, or if you were there at the time, you might remember that Dukowski ended up with a band called SWA. Not SWA, but the word SWA. And SWA, according to a Dukowski interview, is a Dukowski word. I don't know what it means, but he came up with it as a word. It means something, I don't know. That's the name of the band, SWA. And SWA pretty much came into being immediately after Dukowski was thrown out of Black Flag. Now, one little really, really interesting historical factoid that's been mentioned once or twice is that Henry Rollins was basically, he's been described as Dukowski's project. Dukowski was the guy who really wanted Rollins in the band and really backed him and really schooled him and taught him in the ways of Black Flag and the ideological underpinnings of Black Flag. And so when Dukowski was ousted, from what I've read, Rollins wanted to follow him. He wanted to go with Dukowski and form a new band. But Dukowski said, no, stick with Black Flag. And once again, I don't know the particulars, the details. I don't know why, but that's what Dukowski advised Rollins to do. That's what Rollins did. Rollins stuck with Black Flag. So Black Flag was Black Flag, and then SWA was SWA. Dukowski got Merrill Ward to be the vocalist for SWA. And Merrill was in the SST band Overkill, which was not the metal band Overkill. It was a different hard rock Overkill. So Merrill Ward went from Overkill, SST, into SWA. And I'm just going to express my opinion right now. I'm just going to tell it like I see it. It is my opinion that SWA were a really good band. The guitar player and drummer that he had, whose names I don't recall off the top of my head, good band. The songwriting, as I mentioned before, continued on a logical progression from where Dukowski was. He started writing in Worm, continued writing with Black Flag, and continued writing with SWA. He never stopped. It was a continuous progress, a continuous process. It never stopped. So, you're looking at a very linear, non-stop songwriting history and songwriting progression. So, just as Worm, and if you look at some of some of the songs on this Worm album, you've got I've Heard It Before, Modern Man, Padded Cell. These are all ideas that ended up with Black Flag. It therefore stands to reason that ideas he had when he was writing with Black Flag ended up in SWA. Completely consistent, completely continuous. So SWA, musically and compositionally, is just an extension of what he was already doing. Which makes, if you want to be fair, which makes SWA just as valid musically as Black Flag. Philosophically and whatever. It's still Dukowski, just a different set of players. The problem, as I've always seen it with SWA, is that Merrill Ward was not the best vocalist in the world. He was not a bad vocalist. He didn't suck. He just wasn't great. He just didn't have the vocal range. He didn't have the stage charisma that Rollins did. You know, and that's just a matter of opinion. Anybody can agree or disagree as much as they want. That's just the way I see it. I don't see Merrill Ward, as good as he is, being on the same level as Rollins. So there's the big historical what if. What if? What if Rollins indeed had followed Dukowski? And it was the two of them as the creative axis to this band. What kind of reception would Swa have gotten if it had been Rollins on vocals and Rollins writing the lyrics? You know, imagine the lyrics that Rollins was writing on the My War, Slip It In, Family Man, In My Head albums. Imagine the idea of those lyrics and that sort of performance kapow wedded to the music that Dukowski was writing. Really makes you wonder. Really makes you wonder. It makes me think that Swa, rather than being a cutout bin staple, could have really been a powerhouse, and it could be argued a continuing extension of the ideals of Black Flag. Whereas Greg Ginn would have ended up with a Black Flag that is like the current version of Black Flag he's touring with. And same deal, I'm not going to get into a discussion about the merits or demerits of his version of Black Flag. I personally don't think much of it, but whatever. What you're seeing is Greg Ginn's vision of Black Flag, which is him and whoever he says is in Black Flag at a given moment. There's no particular rhyme or reason to it. There's no particular continuity to it, except for the lead singer. It just kind of is what it is when it is. So you would have had that, I think, in competition with an ideological underpinned group like Swa, with a different creative axis. And I quite frankly think it would have been something there, because the music, I'll say it again, the music on Swa albums is great. They take a lot of stick. I saw somebody claim that the first Swa album was the worst album on the SST catalog. That's not true. I'll stand right here and testify before everybody. It's not true at all. It's a good album. It's a real good album. I think the only thing that prevents it from being truly great, once again, in my opinion, is the difference between Merrill Ward as a vocalist and Henry Rollins as a vocalist and performer and lyricist. I think Rollins would have taken it to a whole other level and would have really put Swa on the map. And it, of course, didn't happen. I think coupled with the fact that Swa never really toured, I don't think they ever toured at all, except for maybe one or two short runs in California, for reasons I don't know. But they never really went out and toured or strutted their stuff, and they just didn't have the kind of powerhouse frontman that Rollins was, and so they just kind of sputtered out. But I always think about that kind of stuff, those sort of historical misfires and near chances and, you know, what could have been situations. I always listen to that when I play the Swa albums. I will drag out from time to time, because I really do like the music on those records. So that's just a little bit of food for thought. Just a little something that I wanted to throw out there for all of you, the educated viewer of Tent Talks Tunes. And anybody else out there who is as fascinated with the story and the machinations of SST and all of the bands on SST as I am. Because especially if you're of my generation, SST were just untouchable for a while there. And changed my life, that's for sure. Really changed my life for the better. And so it gives us a lot to chew on, a lot to think about, and a lot to agonize over. Oh my God, what if Rollins had followed Dukowski and turned Swa? Oh my God, what if? What if? We lose sleep over this stuff. But I'll be okay. Don't worry about it, guys. I'll be okay. I just need to relax a little bit. Just gonna relax. So yeah, that wraps up this week's episode of Tent Talks Tunes. I want to thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's good to have someone to yak at and listen to Harry as he freaks out doing his feline thing. Once again, a reminder, I will not be here next week. Not sure if I'll be here the week after that. But if you want to see me and hang out with me in person in either Atlanta or Charlotte or Chattanooga or Nashville, watching me strum the Thunder Lumba with the almighty Antiseen, you got your chances. I love meeting people in person and hanging out with you guys and seeing what's up in your respective towns. So come on out. We won't chill necessarily, but we can hang out and have a good old time. So not sure when I'll be back, but whenever that is, until we meet again, this is Malcolm 10 saying so long from the Nutmeg State.